like the computer's acting weird, so give us 1 second.
Okay.
Hi, thank you for joining us holiday weekend. We'll get started with James Wade. And then Ryan with the trivia, and we'll start with you.
Okay, thanks, James. I'm just wondering, with this game, if you can kind of assess, you had a big lead in the first quarter, and then again, you had a lead in the fourth quarter, and just what went wrong in trying to sustain those?
We didn't execute well. We were a little careless in some situations, defensively and offensively, but we had a game plan that we had some mental breaks in plays, and it caused for us to be behind in plays, and they executed every time we were behind in the play.
The carelessness you mentioned is, or the mental breaks, is some of that compounded with losses piling up, or is it just more execution issues? What would you attribute that to?
I think it's just the execution. I think our energy was well. I think we fought, but it gets to a point where we're a little bit thin. Like, we're thin as far as the basketball team. We don't have 3 of our main players, so we're missing starters on the floor, and so now when a player gets tired, they have to play through it, and they don't. Sometimes that's where you get those mental lapses once they're tired. The fact that we only have 8 players and 6 with WNBA experience, it just puts you behind the 8 ball right away. I think once we get our 3 players back, I think we'll be a little bit better. But I don't want to make any excuses about that. It's just the truth of the reality. I mean, it's just the truth of it all.
Thank you. Any possible sometime? Hey, James. I know you said obviously you're not going to rush players back, but again, at this point, talking about how thin this group is, how critical is it that you get players back as soon as possible?
I mean, it's critical. I mean, you see, it's very critical. The fact that we have a lot of minutes piling on our players that are here, but they have to play because we have nobody else. And with all the COVID protocols and things like that, it's not like we can just bring people in. But we will look to make our team better in the next coming days. So we'll see how it goes.
Y'all finished with 22 turnovers again tonight, and this team talks about its cohesiveness and the way you guys all play together. And so I wonder what you attribute this continued high number of turnovers to. Is it these mental lapses that you referenced tonight, and how do you get them in check?
No, not just that. I think a lot of it attributes to us is that we're a team that was always big on practice. We were really big on practice, and the fact that we can't practice 5-on-5 and kind of get through our sets is tough. You're not able to have practice players. We're down to 9, and so it's tough for a team that thrives and thrives off practice, and that likes to practice when they don't, and so can't play 5-on-5 to get through your sets. So you have to dummy through stuff like 5-on-0, and just to get through your sets, just showing your sets, and that it doesn't replicate what the game brings you, and the game brings you a lot of speed and physicality that you can't replicate because you can't practice against it.
Got it. Thank you.
Chris Tennant, next.
Good evening, Coach.
Good evening, Chris. How you doing?
Not too badly. It seems like since the first game, even when we had Davis and Alley, other teams have been making it very difficult in half court. It looked like we haven't really been able to get the ball below the free throw line the way ordinarily had success in the past. What have you seen teams defensively in half court, and how do you, even with the short bench, how have you tried to adjust for that?
We try to move them and try to attack closeouts. But the thing that's causing us some issues is once you get fatigued, you just you make bad decisions or not as free decisions as far as, because it takes a lot to continue to be persistent and move the ball, continue to be persistent in holding the ball and catching the ball, and to continue to be persistent in driving. And so once we're a little tired, I think that's a lot of the decision making that we did well in the first quarter. It kind of takes a break from us in the second and third.
With the development, the continued development in Charlotte getting her first playing time, how have you liked Ruthie's advancement over this? How have you liked Ruthie's advancement over the season? And what do you think of Charlotte? Ruthie?
Yeah.
How have you liked Ruthie's advancement over the season? And how have you liked Charlotte so far?
I mean, Ruthie has been, she's growing. Like the thing is, I think it would have been better for us if she could have gave us more minutes in the first half. But she's doing the things that she's supposed to do. She's still learning. As far as Charlotte, I mean, she still has a ways to go. We know that. And but like I said, when we constructed this team, we constructed her to be around veterans. And now it's not the case when you have, a rookie like Stephanie Watts, and when you have different things that you have to play her with. And so you're a little bit scrambled. So, but, that's a part of the game. She has to grow. She has to grow into her role and has to, be held accountable even when we don't have those players available. And so her missing the training camp, it hurts too. And her not being able to go through a training camp. This is like her training camp. And we just have to imagine you have a 19-year-old player who hasn't been through a training camp, hasn't really played 5-on-5. And the only time she gets that 5-on-5 is in a WNBA game. And that's just a lot to take in. And so once we get whole, I think you'll probably see the potential that she can have.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right.
No, well, yeah, I'm on the court.
Hey, Coach Wade, how you doing?
All right.
Previously, you said that you wanted the team to get up 20-plus three-pointers. Tonight, you guys were 7 of 21. Is that a positive that you can take away from this game, that you guys were able to put up 21 threes without Allie quickly? And do you expect once Allie gets back into the lineup, do you expect that number to go up some?
I mean, it's not just Allie. You have Stephanie Dolson, who's a pretty good three-point shooter. You have Candace Parker, who's a pretty good three-point shooter, and then you have Allie as well, who's a great three-point shooter. So it's not just her, and it's been a struggle for us to get that amount up. It's been a struggle for us to see them go in, and I think with those players that can shoot, the floor be even more spread for our drivers to drive and for our drivers to make extra passes to find those shooters.
One last question. I just wanted to get it right. You said the last time the team played 5-on-5 in practice was against the game before Washington, correct?
No, it was the game before Atlanta was the game after Washington. We were able to play 5-on-5, and then right before Atlanta, and then after that we haven't been able to.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Christo Palpas.
Hello, Coach. You doing well?
Yeah, thank you.
From your perspective, what was the biggest lesson of your game tonight's game? And don't you how satisfied you are about the way that you fought until the end?
I appreciate the fight. I do appreciate the fight. The one thing I just think we have to be smarter in execution down the stretch. We had certain things that we covered in our game plan that, maybe it bit us maybe 4 times, but those 4 times, they made it count. And I appreciate the fight. Now we just have to be more focused on how we fight and how we execute, because that's important.
And also, how big factor of tonight's game was the 22 turnovers?
Excuse me, can you repeat that?
Yeah, how big factor of tonight's game were the 22 turnovers?
It's a big factor with us. You can't, because when it came down to the end, we turned it over a couple of times, and if we don't turn it over in those situations, then we maybe have an opportunity to score or get back in the game. Like you talk about, we having 25 turnovers, and it's a 1 possession game. So we showed them film where we have to be more selective in when we attack, and how the ball has to move, and how we have to do things fundamentally correct. And right now, it has to be more of a priority to each player, because we need that for the team, and it hasn't been to this point.
Thank you very much.
Time for one more question today. Shannon?
Yeah, that fatigue factor you mentioned, and just all these players logging so many minutes a game. Have you had to rethink a little bit, or do some unorthodox things you wouldn't normally do, as far as what you tell them to do on days off in between, and just even how are you handling these practices to try to make it worthwhile while factoring in the amount of minutes some players are logging? What's that been like?
I've been trying to get them rest, like on our off days, especially since we got this stretch of 5 games in 9 days. So we've been trying to get them as much rest as possible. And so, we can't practice 5-on-5. I think the younger ones that don't play a lot, we'll still practice them, and we'll do a lot of film study with everyone. But right now we're trying to win games, and it's difficult to do that with only 8 players, 6 players with WNBA experience, and the fact that we can't just readily just bring players in is a problem for us. And so we just deal with it the best we can.
Thank you, James.
All right, thanks, guys.
Maxwell Courtney Vandersloot. Hi, Courtney.
Hi. Hello.
Maxwell, on time. Hey, Courtney. Obviously, a big night for yourself. You had some momentum shifting plays throughout the entire night, and I wonder how, when you're that depleted, do you muster that? Do you, pull that energy out of yourself?
I mean, it's the will to win. We're trying to win games. I know everyone's tired. We had people playing over 40 minutes. So, on both sides, everybody's putting everything out there, leaving everything out there. I know our two guards, there was times when they just weren't getting subs. So I had them in my mind thinking, I know they're tired. We're all tired. But we're going to do everything we can. We're going to leave it on the floor to try and win this game. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But, I think this was a turning point for us. I feel like we can take some good things away from this game.
Talking about playing with 8 players, you've been in this league a long time. How do you describe the challenge presented by this year of not being able to play 5-on-5, not being able to bring players in as easily, and then having a game like this where you're talking about players like Todd Diamond and yourself playing nearly 40 minutes and having to try and get a win?
Oh, it's difficult. That's why we've lost 4 in a row. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's challenging, and it's obviously getting the best of us. But fortunately for us, it's early in the season. We're going to keep our heads up. We know the circumstance is temporary. We have 3 very good players that are waiting to come back. And, you know, we're more than excited to get them back whenever that happens. But we're professionals. We're in here grinding every day, and we're going to not make excuses. We're not the only team that's struggling with injuries or players out. So it's definitely not an excuse. We get paid to play this game, so we're going to leave everything out there, whether we have 10, 8, 12, whatever it is. We only need 5 people to play. So.
All right, thanks.
Shannon Ryan, Powder Tribune.
Yeah, you called this a turning point, and you said you could take some positives from it. What makes you feel like this game could turn the tide despite the loss?
Well, I think it was a different team we saw tonight than we did the other night against LA. You know, we fought hard. At the end of the game, we just didn't make enough plays. They did, but a fight that we hadn't seen for a couple of days. You know, I think our spacing was a little bit better. We were able to get into the lane better early on in the game. You know, we made things difficult for them, I think, in the most part. But, you know, we're going to take this energy and keep our togetherness and try and win some games. Thank you.
Noah Well.
How you doing, Courtney?
Hi, how's it going?
I just want to ask you, on your career high tonight, was there anything different that you did preparing for this game, or did you go into this game with the mindset that I have to score more to help my team?
Absolutely. You know, I knew I was going to be aggressive. That was my mindset going into it because I felt like I was a little passive last game. You know, I don't know how to judge it, but it felt like one of my worst games I've ever played. So I just wanted to have a different mindset. I didn't want to be passive. I didn't want to turn the ball over. So I was going to look to score first because I know teams sometimes play me to make the pass. So I was going to be aggressive. I think our team needed that. You know, it feels good to have a career high, but I just, you know, wish it could have been on a dub.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
Christos, we'll head to you now.
Hello, Courtney. Hope you're doing well.
Hi.
Courtney, for you, what was the biggest lesson of tonight's game, and how would you describe the mood in the locker room after that game?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Great. What was the biggest lesson of tonight's game for your team and the way that you fought all until the end of the overtime? And how could you describe the mood in the locker room?
Well, the mood is what you would expect after losing 4 straight games. You know, everybody's pretty frustrated. I think is a good thing, but you know, I think what we can learn from is that if we have a full roster, if we do a few more things defensively, if we have a couple more possessions, better possessions late in the game, offensively, we win that game. So, you know, I think we played really, really hard. We fought really hard. We did the adjustments we talked about after the first game. And I think that's a huge thing. That's taking your mistakes or your weaknesses and learning from them and making it better and applying it in the next game. You know, obviously there's more room for improvement and we have more growth to do. It wasn't enough to get the win. And we know that. And it's frustrating. And we're obviously a little bit down. But I think, you know, if we all come together, we stay together. That was one of the biggest things that we talked about. You know, just remaining together and knowing that we're gonna get through this together.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
One more question for Courtney. Chris Pennant.
Good evening, Courtney.
Hi.
I was actually going to ask before you said that you came out with the intention of being more aggressive. As a point guard with the pedigree that wants to get the whole offense involved, but still knowing that you have a short bench, and also that you have some players who haven't started the season shooting the way that they want to.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance all of those How do you balance all of those things? Trying to score, but still trying to get others involved and trying to get players going.
When I figure it out, I'll let you know. You know, it's a thing that's always been kind of a struggle on my career. It's when to shoot, when to pass. But you know, my teammates trusted me and they want me to be aggressive. They want me to score the ball. You know, I think if I'm aggressive early, things open up later in the game. And you know, we have, like you said, we had some players that maybe miss some shots that they usually make, and but they're getting those shots. And so if I'm aggressive like that and they're knocking down those shots, this is a different outcome, I think. So, you know, I'm going to continue to be aggressive because that's what the team needs, especially right now while we're a little shorthanded. But even when everyone comes back, I think we're a better ball club when I'm being aggressive and looking to score.
Do I have time for one more?
Of course, come on.
Coach talked about the difficulties in practice with the short rotation, and specifically for Shyla and getting her experience in. Have you communicated with her anything or tried to take point in helping her start along the path as a pro?
Yeah, of course I have. I've done my best. It's a whirlwind. I mean, I remember my rookie year, I had a full training camp. I had practices and it's still an adjustment. It's still difficult. So I can't imagine being kind of thrown into it for her, but we have all the belief in the world in her, and we're gonna trust the process and know we're gonna be patient with her because we know it takes some time, but we believe in her and we believe in her skill. So I'm just trying to, keep her positive. Don't let her get down on herself because it's going to come. She's going to be a great player in this league. I think that once she gets it, she's going to just, hit the ground running, and she'll be a really good addition to this team.
Thank you, Courtney. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
So much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for your patience. We'll have Ruthie Hebert in just a moment. Hey, Ruthie, we'll get started with Annie Costwell with the Sun Time. Hey, Ruthie, with the bench as depleted as it is and y'all get into foul trouble, what kind of pressure then do you start to feel, if any at all, knowing that there's not a ton of options to come in?
I mean, it's tough, to get in foul trouble. But I still believe in the team. So, I mean, it's still tough, but I shouldn't have fouled if you call them fouls.
How important is rest and how are you guys changing up how you rest, knowing that you don't have the same bench that you usually do?
Yeah, just trying to do recovery. We have great trainers, so icing, eating well, normal stuff. We're resting when we can.
All right, thanks. Noel Wilkes.
How you doing, Ruthie?
Good.
I just want to ask you, even though it's through injury, you're getting a lot of experience as a starter. How do you think this experience that you're getting now is going to help Chicago and your team further down the line, like during pro season or during the mid-season, for you to have this experience as a starter?
Yeah, I'm hoping it goes a long way. I mean, it's nice to be able to start and help out the team. So I'm hoping, Steph and Candace and all the other players come back when they need a break, when they get tired, I can come in and keep the energy the same. And, I'm going to be in shape and ready for when they need me.
Thank you, Ruthie.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ruthie.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. And thank you all for joining us. Hope you have a great Memorial Day. Talk to you soon.